Okay, so I'm going to do a quick, may not be quick, I'm going to do a little video on how to make the masks that I've been making. So the first thing that I do is when I first undo my material, this is a fat quarter that I've been using, and they come folded up in these little squares. So when I unfold them, they are all wrinkly and you can see where the lines are where they were folded. So I just like to run an iron over them just to kind of straighten it out, get it flat. I typically don't like ironing on my cutting mat just because I don't want to melt it. But in this instance, since I'm just ironing out the lines on the material and I'm not leaving the iron on the material long, it shouldn't damage my mat. So I just want to make sure that I get an accurate measurement. So I do a little bit of ironing. And most of the time, I like pre-washing my material. But for these masks that I've been making, I have them pre-washed just because I've not taken the time to do so. And it depends on the material. Like on this one mask that I made for a friend of mine at work, this was a fat quarter piece, so it hasn't been washed, but this was personal material that I'd already had in my stash, and it had been. So if it's material that I'd had downstairs that I was using for other things, then it's already been washed. But all of the new material that I bought, I haven't washed yet. So that is one thing you might want to do before you start sewing, is wash your material. If you're doing material like this, like a Crown Royal bag or this Stella bag, I wouldn't wash it because it's probably not going to be worn for real. Just something to do, something to make. But anyway, so once I get my lines ironed out and I'm working with a fresh ironed material, I'm going to measure my material so I can start cutting it. So what I've been doing, the measurements that I've been using, and again, this is what I've been using. This doesn't have to be what everybody uses. And I also use this plastic measuring tool that it really helps keep my lines straight on my cutting mat. So I'm going to show you my cutting mat. It's just one of the self-healing plastic mats. And it's got the measurements top and bottom, which helps. So I've got the measurements on the top, and that's how I can line up my other tool to make sure I'm cutting a straight line, because I can see the top and the bottom. So the length across the face that I've been doing has been 9 inches to allow for my seam allowance. So I start with the 9-inch and I make sure that it's lined up straight. Hold it in the middle so it doesn't slide. I use my rotary cutter. This has come in really handy. I'm needing a new blade because this one is starting to get dull because I've had it for so long and I've used it so often. So you can use scissors, you can use whatever cutting tool you have, but it's just easier for me to use my rotary blade. So I line it up on the 9-inch and I cut all the way up. And that gives me my 9-inch material, and then I'll lay that to the side. So now the other side,